Today my guest is Gerry Whelan. Gerry joins us from Brisbane in Australia, where he's the CEO of Archer Glass, a Mount Gravatt-based firm that deals with architectural glass. Gerry, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Wayne. Thank you.
Now, Gerry, today I'd like to turn to safety glass because it is a very critical part of putting glazing into your home. Can you define what safety glass is for us?
We have grade A safety glass and grade B safety glass. Grade A safety glass is toughened glass or laminated glass, are both grade A. And then the grade B safety glass, of course, is the old-fashioned wired glass with the mesh running through it.
Now that glass with the mesh running through it is kind of industrial in its look and I guess in its application. Let's talk about the first two types of glass you mentioned, laminated and toughened. What's the difference between them?
With the laminated, if it breaks or when it breaks, there's a lamination in the center of it which holds the whole thing together and it doesn't just crash down in pieces. Whereas the toughened, when it's broken, just shatters into pieces and falls down.
I see. So that lamination, I've seen broken glass that looks like it's got a bit of plastic wrap in between two layers of glass. That's what you're talking about.
For all the world, that's it, yes.
So, Gerry, in terms of which one do I use, what should guide me about whether I want laminated glass or toughened glass in my house?
Toughened glass you might use on a bench top in the kitchen because you're going to put a hot pot on there from the oven maybe, so it stands up to heat, or in a splashback in the kitchen behind the stove where, you know, the cooking and steam will get it quite hot and then it won't shatter. Whereas if you use laminated glass in those situations, it would just crack with the heat. With the laminated, if you put solar film on it in direct sun, the heat buildup can crack it too. So you would also use toughened in that situation. Laminated then you would use in the other areas like in your patio door or something where, if it's to break, your building is still secure because the laminated glass holds together.
Is there a difference in price, Gerry?
Pretty much they come up to about the same price. It's minimal, the difference between them.
And what about workability? Are they different to work with?
Absolutely, yeah. With laminated, we can cut it from stock same day and install it. With toughened, it has to go through a process where it's cut first and then put through like an oven type process where it's brought up to a very high temperature and cooled down quickly, which causes the toughening to happen. And this is usually 3 to 5 days lead time then for the order. So it delays the job.
Now, Gerry, you mentioned cutting laminated glass. I've seen glaziers do it and I've always been impressed with the skill. They kind of score the glass and put a bit of pressure on it. And when they do it, it always breaks beautifully along the line. How does the lamination affect that?
When you cut laminated glass, it's two pieces of glass separately laminated together. So you have to cut both sides directly opposite, with the cuts directly opposite each other. So you'd cut one side, score one side, crack open the cut, turn the panel of glass over, and then cut the opposite side and do the same thing. Then you bend it down and cut or burn the interlayer, like by melting it or by cutting it with a blade to separate the interlayer, which is quite strong.
See, one of the reasons why tradesmen are called tradesmen is they know the tricks of the trade. And clearly I should leave cutting my laminated glass to a professional.
Yeah, it's a kind of a practice thing, like a lot of things with trade. Like a knack, the old word knack. But simply from practice and from doing it, it just comes naturally. Whereas someone may be doing it once off for the first time, well, they just haven't got that flow of how to do it.
Yes, I can imagine there are many apprentices who have wept a little bit at the first time they've tried to do that.
Yeah, yeah, you get that from the initial training. Yeah.
Gerry, with toughened glass, where it's going to be heated up to be made tough after you've cut it, what about fitting other things that require holes through the glass, like hinges and handles and things?
Yeah, they're all drilled out or cut out first before the toughening process. Once the glass is toughened, it can't be worked in any way again. If it's wrong, it goes in the bin and start again. So all that cutting and checking out has to be done first, including polish the edges, etc. And then it goes through the toughening process last.
I see. And once it's been through that process, if you attempt to drill it or cut it, it will just shatter.
Correct. Yeah. Any working will just break it.
Now, Gerry, safety glass is obviously more expensive than ordinary glass that hasn't been toughened or laminated. Where do you have to use safety glass?
Anywhere there might be a danger of human impact, they call it. So it would be in a door or next to a doorway or any opening that could be mistaken for an unimpeded path of walkway that somebody could walk into it. So you would use grade A safety glass there, or in shower screens and balustrading, all those areas where people can walk into it, are by and large safety glass.
Now, I know that having non-safety glass in those passageways can be very dangerous if someone does walk into it or break it, because it breaks into large shards that can cut them and cause horrendous injuries. Is there any way to tell what is safety glass and what is not safety glass? Perhaps if I've just bought an older house, or it might be my parents' place who have had glass in there for a long time, how do I tell which is which?
Usually with the toughened glass, down in one of the bottom corners, you'll see a stamp, like a manufacturer's or a toughener's stamp, that tells you it's toughened. But we have a meter that we can go out also and audit people's properties and check where safety glass is or isn't. Because sometimes as well, it's not stamped, or the laminated is seldom stamped. So we can check with our meter that it's grade A safety glass and then certify it if it is.
Gerry Whelan, it's been a pleasure talking to you again. You're a font of wisdom when it comes to things glazier related. Thank you for giving up your time to us today.
Thank you very much, Wayne.